What's up, y'all? Once again, this is Macaulay Sexton of Sexton Sobriety. And today I want to talk about the esoteric, the spiritual, the trippy side to addiction. So generally, when I talk about addiction, I try to focus on logical action and disciplines because I want to kind of demystify addiction as a whole. But today I'm going to get kind of trippy with it, so bear with me. So in active addiction, I was fighting the universe. I was fighting source. I was fighting God, if you like that terminology. Basically, I did anything I could to numb myself, to sedate myself, and to hypnotize myself with strong substances that put me at risk of overdose and death. And this is just how I operated because I didn't want to face reality. I didn't want to deal with emotions. I have always been a sensitive person, and I didn't like it. I thought it made me weak. And come to find out, it's one of my greatest assets. But anyways, so this was where I was operating from. Avoidance. I wanted to not feel, wanted to not face reality. And so the concoction that I took would put me in a place to where I was blacking out, I was nodding out, I was losing consciousness. And still, there was this universal force that was breaking through that. It was persistent, and it was pissing me off because the universe works through people. And I was having very synchronistic, intuitive things happen. So I would have a thought, and it would be basically affirmed by an experience. Like I would think like, this isn't working out for me. And then someone would share something that confirmed that it wasn't working out for me. You know what I mean? And so this was really trippy and just weird because I was like, man, what is this? Like, what is this force that is trying to force accountability on me? Because it's pissing me off. And I'm doing everything in my power. I'm using my self-will to destroy myself, to avoid reality, to avoid accountability. And still, like I said, it was breaking through. It was so persistent. And so this persisted for a long time. I kept doing this over and over again. It was a cycle to where I would disconnect and then something would break through and force accountability. And it was just over and over. A lot of times it would be just in the morning when I would wake up because I was, coming off all the stuff that I took the night before. And so I would have a little moment to where reality would come rushing back. And I would react by consuming a whole bunch of stuff again. And so this was the cycle. It's the pain and anxiety cycle. It's the cycle of avoidance and the mental obsession of addiction. So I had an obligation in my mind to change the way that I felt because I just didn't like anything about reality. And so then I started losing my will to live. And this is really interesting because this is when the universe tried even harder to break through. So it was breaking through more consistently. I was having intuitive dreams that would then come true. I had a dream that I was forced to go to treatment. And then the universe worked through some people. They gave me ultimatums and I was forced to go to treatment. And I'm grateful. When I say forced, I say that because it's me being real about it. I could have stayed in Austin and not went, but I would have been homeless. And I wasn't with that. I had already lived out of hotels before, which is better than being on the street, but I was not going to do that. So the fact that I was codependent and scared really helped me. It did. So it got me to treatment. Then the universe is like, hey, you got to be accountable. You got to be honest with someone. And so it brought a person into my life who was honest with me, who shared their lived experience, who was also a clinical professional. And so that was huge. Then, they prescribed me medications to get me off the other ones. And it's like the universe is intervening and saying, hey, you can't take these anymore. We'll give you something. Temporarily, we'll give you something. But nah, you can't take this concoction that's going to kill you anymore. And so then I'm like really pissed and I'm going into like a psychosis because I'm like, what is happening? Like I'm being forced to feel. I'm being forced to live. I'm being forced to face reality. And so I started having flashbacks to traumatic experiences. I started reliving traumas. My emotions were so exaggerated. I was in a psychosis, and I was prescribed antipsychotics. Like it was crazy. And this was all during detox. And the reason I bring this up is because it was forced accountability. The universe was making it so clear, like, yo, I'm going to support you. And this is going to be hard, but you can get through it. You can get through it. You just need to be willing. And I knew this, like it was this deep knowing, like this gnosis was happening. And it felt like I was like, man, I've been here before almost. It was like deja vu in a way. During this time, I was so hopeless that I even had thoughts of, man, if I die, man, I hope I'm reincarnated as a bird so I can fly back to Austin to see my family. So that just tells you where my brain was at. The universe set me up for success, though. I was offered solutions. I was offered resources. And reluctantly, I took them. And so I slowly gained willingness. And I started to realize, hey, this is attainable. I can actually do this. Because people shared their lived experiences. Because I was offered clinical treatment. It all was a huge part of why I've been successful for 7 years. It's crazy to think back on it and to look and to be like, yo, the universe has your best interest at heart, but that can manifest in ways that we just don't understand. Like, it seems crazy. There's this idea that like the universe wouldn't let anything bad happen, or else it's like not a loving universe or a God. A lot of people associate this stuff with like God. And man, I think there's just way deeper stuff at work. I think we are here for soul lessons. Earth is a soul school. We can either get held back or we can graduate. And so, man, like I hope that made sense. I tried to articulate this the best way that I could. And yeah, I mean, now I can look back on it and be like, yo, this all happened for a reason. I was offered the solution. Now my intuition is in alignment with my actions. My morals are in alignment with my actions. I walk the walk and talk the talk. And I'm not saying that to encourage, to be arrogant. I'm saying that just to be like, yo, the universe forced this. Now I love it. Now I accept it. But this wasn't really just my actions. Like there was some other force at play. And so I guess that's why a lot of people, speak about it like this. But I try to, like I said, focus on these logical actions that you can take because that will work. And if you don't have some weird, trippy, esoteric experience like me, that's fine. That's not a requirement, for recovery. But that's just my experience. And so in having that experience, I know also that you can recover just with some very simple disciplines, actions, accountability, honesty, etc. All the stuff I parrot and talk about all the time. So just keep in mind, be easy on yourself, look for resources, accept reality, and you can be successful in recovery. That's all I'm going to say because I'm going to keep rambling if I keep going. So much love to everyone. Please be easy on yourselves.